Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, Principal Atmospheric Scientist at Nutrient Ag Solutions. I want to thank you for watching this weekly ag weather update brought to you by the Farm Credit Associations of North Carolina. I want to begin with a week ago, and I'm about to hit play on the animation on the left. I went back and reviewed some of my videos from last week because I remember that on Monday I was amazed to see this supercell thunderstorm racing to the east of Raleigh, going right over toward the coast. And it was amazing because earlier indications on that day just did not suggest that all the ingredients would come together to make a storm like this. But instead, what you end up getting here, and I'm just going to leave the video pause right there, is a supercell thunderstorm. And that supercell thunderstorm, well, when I teach students about it, I teach off of this diagram. And this is something I want you to think about. Now, on the back side of the supercell, right in through here, this is where we have what's called the hook echo. Now, let's see if we can play this to see if this one really develops a nicely developed hook at any point. At certain times it does, but the bigger story with this one was the hail that came out of it. In the supercell thunderstorm, it's this region right in through here that often has the largest hail, and we can see that very clearly when we look at radar animations like this, and we see pinks and purples and whites. That is the radar sampling the storm and finding its hail core. And when it was all said and done, as this storm system went through, we had 3 reports of tornadoes out of this on the hook echo on the back side, and 46 reports of hail, 4 of which were bigger than 2 inches in diameter. And this little storm, I mean, it's small, but caused all of this problem right here in North Carolina. And I went back and watched my video and I said, well, there's a chance for scattered showers and thunderstorms today as the front exits. And what we didn't realize was that the perfect situation was going to come together to really excite one of these supercell thunderstorms. And I start off with that because the midsection of the country is having a much different week than the southeast. Now take a look at this. This is just the last 72 hours of total accumulated precipitation. And as we get into this very crucial, what we call week 20 in the midsection of the country for corn and soybean planting progress, well, the 3 days leading up to it were extremely wet and extremely stormy. Meanwhile, much of the southeast, much of the Carolinas here, it was just a lot of hit or miss showers and thunderstorms. And that's going to be the name of the game for quite some time to come here. Look at what happened though over the last 4 days. Starting with the 19th here, we go 18th, 17th, 16th, looking at storm reports. You can see the action in the midsection of the country where we accumulated 877 reports of severe weather. A massive ridge over the southeast is going to keep all of this severe weather tucked away in the middle part of the country where they're studying it. One of my colleagues, Ian Livingston, took this great picture, and what you see in the background are mammatus clouds. These form under the anvil of large thunderstorms. But that right there is the NOAA P-3. That's a research aircraft. There's a huge project going on right now called Taurus. We're launching, well, you see right there, fixed-wing drones that are going and flying right up next to and into some of these massive supercell thunderstorms. We have ground crews with Doppler radar. We have the NOAA P-3 flying, and we have students out launching weather balloons. This is one of my former students, Manda Chasteen. She has one of our weather balloons, and here she is. She's about to ready to let it go here. She's backing up because there's power lines in the way, and boy, the balloon just barely clears it there. But that little instrument pack is getting sucked into a supercell thunderstorm like you just saw at the beginning of this video. And we're studying these storms and trying to learn as much as we can about them, not for the reasons that you probably might remember from the movie Twister, but instead to simulate them. This is what we do on our supercomputers. We simulate the circulations within these storms so that we can better understand them, better model them, and therefore better predict them. It's an amazing, amazing bit of science going into this. Okay, let's get back into the details of your forecast, though, now that you've seen some of the research going on. Until this goes away, big giant southeast ridge, deep trough in the western United States over here, and a strong Pacific jet, we aren't breaking this pattern down. And the problem is this large ridge is protective, which means it's going to keep storm systems away, but it is also going to build in some serious heat. By the way, you see the circulation sitting off here. This is technically kind of our first tropical thing that we're watching this year. No, it's not a hurricane. It's not even getting a name, but we're keeping a close eye on it. At least it's not getting a name at this point. Keeping a close eye on this little system spinning off the coast here. The waters are warm, but that flow pattern right there is one that's going to keep the Carolinas scorched in terms of heat and prevented from getting much rain over the next week. This is a map showing us our all hazards weather map. This section of the country is about to get lit up. Yes, in the northern plains, we're dealing with frost and freeze warnings, but much of the southeast where this giant ridge is going to sit is going to get shut down this week. Let me show what I'm talking about. This is just looking through the next 5 days at total accumulated precipitation through the NBN model. Now, we have a risk of severe weather to our north, and there is a front that will be dragging through, bringing, again, the probability of showers and thunderstorms to the Carolinas, specifically North Carolina, at about 40% to 50% in the overnight hours. Now, we're going to have to watch some of these storms as they slide through. But after that, the temperatures throughout the week just get hotter and hotter, and the severe weather stays, well, right here. Now, I want to point this out to you because this is an important case here. I know this isn't North Carolina weather, but we have to keep an eye on it because we grow cotton in North Carolina. We grow corn, soybeans, so many different crops that are growing all across the South. And look at this, a high risk put out by the Storm Prediction Center. These are exceptionally rare. But the system today, this is Monday, still leaving the Northeast, will be dragging a front here, like I talked about, which is why our threat for strong to severe storms is non-zero. So we're going to keep an eye on this late this afternoon and this evening. To show you what I'm talking about, we're going to run a high-resolution rapid refresh model. We're going to keep our focus primarily on the Carolinas here. As we progress through the day, what do you see here? Well, you're going to start to see the storms building there, basically from just west of Raleigh all the way along this line. It's just tucked away right in through here. And that is the region where we're going to be seeing possibly some stronger thunderstorms, have the potential for putting out some very heavy rainfall amounts in a brief amount of time, but this lasts into the overnight hours into very, very early on Thursday morning. Now, I know you're probably looking more at what's going in the midsection of the country. This is a multi-day severe weather outbreak. This is a significant event. They've actually shut down the schools on Monday in Tulsa, Oklahoma, just in preparation for this severe weather event. So this is a scary situation for the midsection of the country, but we're not even out of the woods for having some stronger thunderstorms to North Carolina today on Monday. Okay, does the severe weather ever get to us? Well, Tuesday is shown here and Wednesday is here. And what you see is this big dominant ridge is just going to try to keep things away. So what are you going to deal with instead? Some very high temperatures. Now, I got that set up to play fast, but look at this. The week starts off with temperatures creeping toward the upper 80s, lower 90s. But look at what happens as I get into Tuesday, Wednesday, here it comes Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Boy, we're going to scorch the Southeast with some temperatures that are uncommon, unseasonable for this time of year. This is much above average in terms of temperatures. Let me show what I mean. Looking at your next 5 days, look at the temperature anomalies here while the jet stream skirts right around you. Days 6 through 10, very, very warm as well across much of the Southeast, which means this pattern isn't breaking down even when I get you all the way out to days 11 through 15. Now, in a few moments, I should say, I'm going to tell you about what the pattern's going to do. And there's something interesting that I'm watching here. And it is such that the ridge that was once so strong over here, it may be sliding back over toward Texas. And if that happens, that is a little bit of a different look overall in this pattern. Now, is it a substantial enough change to really get us away from our above average temperatures? No, which means I'm going to continue to see much of the Southeast staying way ahead of average on the accumulation of growing degree day units. This is a growing degree day anomaly map based off of the corn calculation set at 50 degrees Fahrenheit. But you can clearly see that if there's a spot around the country that's ahead, it is the Southeast, keeping a very close eye on that moving forward. So let's now dig into some of the details here. Watch the setup of the pattern as we move throughout this week. Large ridge over the Southeast. Look at that right there, almost reaching 6,000 meters. I'm telling you, for an atmospheric scientist, that's a strong and powerful ridge. Deep trough out west keeps swinging through, keeping the midsection of the country active. But that ridge isn't going anywhere. I'm at the 26th, 27th, 28th of May, and you really just see it hanging on here to the end of the month. Now, it's the end of the month that I want to discuss, because by the time we get to May 30th, this is where things get interesting. We now get our upper level trough sliding through the Great Lakes states toward the Hudson Bay. There's still an extension of it out west, but as I progress forward, we start to see the main ridge feature moving back toward Texas. It's a little bit flatter of a pattern, and it's probably more telling me that the model spread is large rather than what the atmosphere is actually going to do. But anytime we see big ridges flanking the United States, generally the flow pattern does something like this. It's very highly amplified, so we're going to have to watch it very carefully as we progress into the month of June. What about the timing of precipitation? Does anything get to the Carolinas? Well, again, we're dealing with the chance of, sorry, that went went fast. But we're dealing with the chance at the beginning of the forecast time period on Monday for some widely scattered showers and snows. We don't even really see them showing up here in the European model. Meanwhile, here's our little tropical system we're going to keep an eye on, but it's going to stay offshore. The midsection of the country lit up. Now look, that storm system in the midsection of the country goes north. Big dominant area of high atmospheric pressure prevents anything from getting to us over in the Carolinas, except for some maybe pop-up showers and storms just on the afternoon heating and the moisture that's always available. As we get into the weekend, we just see the Carolinas protected. That ridge, I'm all the way out, by the way, to the 28th here. If you've been watching with me, no major storm systems are coming through at least in the next 7 to 10 days. And that's why when we look at our operational European model run over here on the left, you can see it. GFS on the right, you can see it. Yep, hit or miss showers, thunderstorms that pop up. But that's just on the extreme heating of the day. Other than what we might get in the overnight hours and afternoon hours on Monday, it's a dry and hot week. And looking out at week 2, we still see the presence of that ridge, even though it's sliding towards Texas, hanging on. Okay, that is the name of the game moving forward for the Carolinas. We're getting to finish May very, very warm. Globally, I just want to give you a couple of updates. Right now in parts of Germany, very, very wet. Just north of the Black Sea, very wet. A lot of severe weather in here. There's a deeper trough that's digging through. We're getting some warmth out ahead of it. The Black Sea is right in through, so some warmth out ahead of this in a pretty productive region in Europe. So I just want to keep you aware of that. Globally, we're harvesting a safrinha crop down here, which is corn and cotton primarily. No major precipitation anomalies coming out of Brazil. Keeping an eye on India, extremely hot and dry week ahead. Temperatures getting into the triple digits every single day. Much of China's growing region are wet in the north and drier in the south. And outside of that, there really isn't too much of a global story. It's all kind of tucked away in the United States. And just looking at temperatures throughout this week, we don't really see major anomalies except for right here. The United States is the global hotspot in terms of severe weather. And when I say hot, I literally mean it when we talk about the southeast over the coming week. Prepare for some very, very warm conditions. With that, I'm going to wrap this video up. We at Nutrient Ag Solutions want to thank you for your attention. Hope you look forward to our next update coming out next week. Thank you.